everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. And in today's podcast, our topic will be Understanding Walt Whitman Song of Myself, Section 21 and Section 51. With me today is Clever Ronald Ho and Mark Benembly. So, first I will open this discussion with the theme of our selected poem, which are human experience and human connection to the nature. So, Whitman declares, I am the poet of the body, and I am the poet of the soul. Right away, he sets up a holistic view of humanity, and unlike many of other poets who often saw the body and soul as separate or even opposed, I see that Whitman sees them as connected. This connection reflects a transcendental belief in the goodness and divinity within human experience. So, by accepting both the physical and the spiritual, Whitman offers a vision of life where every sensation, emotion, and thoughts are sacred. For example, the pleasure of heaven are with me, and the pains of hell are with me. The first I graft, then increase upon myself, the latter I translate into a new tongue. We can see that Whitman doesn't shy away from the full range of human experience. The pleasures and pains and the highs and lows all add to the richness of life. So by translating the pains of hell into a new tongue, Whiteman suggests that even our struggles and sufferings have meaning and can be transformed into something beautiful and profound. So, what do you guys? Do you guys agree with this?
Well, yeah, and I see that this is a notion that is often in this Whitman piece, the this sort of juxtaposition, uh, saying that he is opposite, as you mentioned earlier up there, how Whitman says the pleasure of heaven are with me and the pains of hell are with me. He also says something similar in the next section where he says, I am not the poet of goodness only. I do not decline to be the poet of wickedness also. Yeah, me for real. Okay, kidding, but what I am meaning to say is that since Walt Whitman here always talks about himself being a representative of humanity and all that, and when he talks about being all these juxtapositions, such as having pleasures of heaven and the pains of hell with him, and then going on to say that he is not only a poet of goodness, but also he does not decline being a poet of wickedness, then I believe he might be talking about the duality of humanity here, about the greatness of what humans can achieve, and then the depths of humanity's capabilities of horror, and also in the scale of the individual as well, that we as individuals are also capable of good and bad.
Right. So now let's look at how he connects the poem with life, especially as reflected in his relationship with nature. So for Whitman, nature is not just a bedrock for human activity, but a living entity deeply connected within our existence. And this can actually be seen from the line, Smile, oh, voluptuous, cool breath earth, earth of the slumbering and liquid trees. I think this line created a sense of intimacy, intimate connection between us humans with the earth. So in this we can see that the earth is not just soil and rocks, but a lover, a companion, source of endless inspiration. Well, so maybe next time when you guys find yourself walking through a forest or something, remember Whitman's words. I think if we focus enough, we can actually feel the unity of our body and soul and feel the deep connection with the life around you, right? So, how about the notion of identity in section 21? Any of you guys?
Yeah, section 21 has so far been a section that's given us a lot to talk about on this episode, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say, Ronan.
Well, according to my understanding of Section 21 of Whitman's Songs of Myself, I see that he explores identity with a sense of unity and also interconnectedness. This section celebrates self and larger connection of individual identity to the surroundings. Whitman's language in section 21 also portrays the dynamic of identity through nature and the imagery that he used, such as I am the poet of the body and I am the poet of the soul, speaks as the ever changing identity. In a way, Whitman is trying to portray that the notion of identity is not stagnant, as the body and soul are further evolving through the course of life. Furthermore, he also connects identity to nature. In the lines, I am he that walks through the tender and growing night, symbolizing his unity with nature. Hence, as Whitman dictates identity with the mind and body, I feel that an identity is also connected to the natural world as they share one similarity, which is they are always evolving.
I agree with you there, Ronan. In fact, if I may, I would like to add on to your point about Whitman's larger connection of individual identity to the cosmos and humanity. As like just a few sections further from section 21, which is the section you mentioned previously, is there is in section 24 where Whitman literally says Walt Whitman, a cosmos of Manhattan, the sun. And may I add further the next line because I find it amusing: turbulent, fleshy, sensual, eating, drinking, and breeding. To me, this just screams in agreement to when you said that Whitman explored the identity with the sense of unity and interconnectedness.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that in section 51, women also talks about identity, right?
Yeah, and to circle back, I think I want to try to understand this crucial and so famous line we have here in this poem, the I am large, I contain magnitudes in section 51. For me, that line by itself, which is placed at section 51 out of 52, nearing the end of this very long poem, Songs of Myself, I believe that this line encapsulates what Whitman thinks of his self identity, whether or not we see it as delusional or not. I believe that's what he views himself. Now, all throughout the poem, he has been stating, and one could call boasting about how important he is and calling himself the cosmos and so on and so forth. But I think it is better to focus on this aspect of him saying, I contain multitudes. I think this line really does summarize in a nutshell what has been going on in this poem as Whitman has gone on and on for about 51 sections now. How he is nature, he is of heaven and of hell, how he is both good and evil. In a way, it does show how he is at least aware of how many influences he has taken to create this work, whether or not how seriously he takes himself, these claims to himself. Well, I want to hear from one of you what kind of impression does Whitman give from these two lines and as a whole, section 51 from near the end of the poem.
Well, in my opinion, Walt Whitman gave an impression of someone with a patriotic spirit and a strong philosophy to represent the people around him. But as positive as he is, as represented in his poem, Whitman does offer a view of being a normal human being in regards to identity as he goes through the crisis of identity, especially in different thoughts that are running in his mind. One way Whitman gave a solution is with the line, do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes, which encourages the readers to embrace the multifaceted nature of identity, and he also extends that the identity of a person is expansive. But as he speaks to the readers, you will hardly know who I am or what I mean in one of the lines. He implies that people would not understand him easily, similar to our own self. Not everyone can represent you, as you yourself know yourself the best. Hence, recognizing that understanding ourselves is a large part of the spectrum and is an ongoing journey.
True, that is true, Ronan. I also noticed earlier in the section that Whitman wrote something that caught my attention: the lines and his use of filled and emptied, which I believe implies that identity is not static but a process of ongoing renewal and transformation. That in my interpretation, it means that throughout one's life, they will go through experiences that change their being, that fill themselves with knowledge and experiences of also perhaps experience experiences that will humble oneself, which for me I will relate to it, to the feelings of being emptied, which I believe circles back to what you said about the "do I contradict myself" line from earlier, Ronan.
Right. So, to conclude, we can agree that the notion of identity is somewhat a complex matter, but not impossible to understand as we continue to dwell with the themes of human experience and nature. So, I believe that we indeed had an insightful conversation about Whitman's Song of Myself, session 31 and 51.
Indeed. And I guess that's all. And thank you, Mark, and thank you, Alia. And we hope to see you guys in the next one.